Okay, let's continue our series against Sargon 2-ply, which is slightly stronger, still in 1510 rated. Alright, we have the white pieces again. I promise I'm not doing this on purpose, it's just a random choice by lichess. Okay, knight f3, d5, let's play c4, the Reti opening. Okay, bishop f5. I'm not familiar with this. It's not really threatening anything. I can take the pawn, invite the queen to the party, and then there's a forking square here. So can I use this with a move like this, for example, threatening the fork, gaining a tempo? Well, first of all, gaining a tempo on the queen. There's no fork because the queen will move. Queen will move. It can go to a5 to create a later pin on the knight. But I think I'm happy with that. Let's take. Develop a piece with tempo, that can't be wrong. Okay, so e4 is not playable immediately. I would like to play e4 though. That would be nice. There is a trick. If I play e4, okay, I think there's a tactical trick to make this work. Then I have this one. So e4, bishop takes, knight e4, bishop takes, queen check. He can block with the queen or with the knight with the pawn, but in either case I can take on e4. Yeah. So what else can he do? He cannot take with the queen, he can just move the bishop. Yeah, he doesn't have to take though. If I play, okay, let's see. If I play e4, he doesn't have to take. So if he takes, he loses a piece, great. But if he doesn't, let's say he does, I don't know, something like this, for example. He's still left with an ugly queen that's blocking his bishop f8, so that's good for me. I still have queen check on a4 to support the pawn and later play d5. Oh, sorry, d4. Okay, I think that's good for me. Let's go with this. What? Oh, I didn't think. Oh, I totally didn't think of that. I can't take because of the pin, of course. That's very annoying. And if bishop e2, okay, that's clever, because if bishop e2, then he can take like this, and the whole thing doesn't work, because in the end, yeah, it just doesn't work, because he's got one more defenders. So let's recalculate. Okay, bishop. First, let's start with checks. Bishop check, c6. No, that can't be good. Queen check is fine. I can start with that, adding support to the pawn. He can't really threaten me because this. I'm happy to exchange queens. In fact, I win a piece if I exchange queens. So really, c6 or knight, which is fine. Okay, I think that's okay. What else? Bishop e2, there's a problem on e4. For example, let's say bishop e2, let's say he takes like this. He's defended twice. And even if I try, so let's recalculate this line because I'm not sure. Even if I try check, let's say he blocks in a productive way, so with the knight perhaps. What do I have? He's got, I still can't take. Yeah, there's a problem. Can't take. Can I create some tricks with bishop d3? No, this is too. No, it doesn't work. Okay, so I think the simplest move is to just queen a4. Ah, misclick. My God. Okay, we misclicked. Brilliant. It is what it is. So how do we save this? Okay, this just happens. How do we save this misclick? So bishop e2. Okay, that's an interesting exercise now. I think we have to exchange queens, otherwise we just die. Because he's got bishop takes f3. So now we have a losing endgame, but we're gonna have to outplay our opponent in the endgame. So let's see, if I take on e4, distracts the knight. Yeah, because bishop c4 immediately doesn't quite work. It's actually counterproductive. He could do something like this, takes. He corrects his pawn structure and exchanges a piece. That's not good for me. I'd rather do this. Yes, it exchanges a piece, but now his knight is possibly misplaced. So now bishop c4 is interesting. I'm hitting this pawn. He can defend with something like knight c5 or g5, but the light is loose and can be kicked with d4 in either case. King f7 perhaps? Okay, I have a feeling that he's going to have some problems on the e6 pawn. And he has no threat. He's not even trying to defend the pawn. Okay, but this is pretty clever. What he's saying here is that knight b4 is a serious threat. Knight b4, okay. What he wants is, let's say I take knight b4. How do I defend c2? If I move the king, f2 hangs with another fork, losing a rook, or at least an exchange. So I think I have to play a3, and that wastes a move during which he can play. He can push the pawn. Wow, extremely annoying. Very well defended by our opponent. Okay, but we really need this move. I think we need this move, a3. Because without a3, I'm going to have some problem with knight b4. So bishop takes knight b4. Do I have any tricks? No, wait. I forgot something. Let's see. Bishop takes knight b4. I need to control c2. I just come back here. So yes, he's got this annoying check here. And f2 now. Oh my god, this is endless. But if f2, I go here, and let's say he takes. And I do something like this. There should be something, because these knights, I mean, I should be able to come back here to create problems. So I'm going to make the gamble this works, but frankly, I'm not sure I've calculated the full line because it's a bit too complicated. Okay. The opponent doesn't even try to refute me. Okay, interesting. Does it mean that it works? I don't know. Perhaps. We'll see with the analysis. Okay, I really can't allow this knight c2 trick. And then, super annoying. So bishop b3 damages my pawn structure. Do I want to allow that? Yeah, the problem is there's still that stupid knight b4. But okay, I can play this, and it's ugly, but I'm restoring material equality, and it's probably playable. What I really want is to get the best of both worlds. Control this square without losing a tempo again and again. So let's say I do this. He can again gain a tempo on me, like this. Where do I go? I have to control this c2 square again. I go back here. It's horrible, but what else? Then he can start to castle. And I'm having some serious development problems, although, yeah, I think I have some problems there. Okay, perhaps the best option, or the, shall we say, middle ground option, is to something like this. Yes, he can still play this and this, but that feels a bit better than the original variation with bishop b3, because I don't damage the pawn structure. Although damaging the pawn structure like this does open the rook, which then hits a7. So there's no long castle in this line. if he wants to play knight b4, right? If he wants something like this after. So that could be an idea. I'm wasting way too much time on this move. Okay, so knight here, knight here. Let's go with this one. Let's try to preserve the pawn structure. Of course, long castle, that was to be expected. I think I'm safe to short castle here. I'm gonna have a problem to push the d-pawn, but I don't really have to push it right away. d4 would be great, of course, but that's hard to organize. King f2, do I want to entertain this kind of thing? No, I don't think so. I think castle is not really threatening anything. I mean, knight d3, I take rook takes, king e2, it's fine. I think I just need to castle. Okay, so d3, does that work? d3, let's see, d3. Knight takes. d3, knight takes, I have a problem. d3, knight takes, I have a problem. d3, knight takes. Okay, so b3, what about b3? b3 defends the bishop, prepares bishop b2 to kick this rook. That's good because I'm going. Okay, interesting. I'm going to control all these squares, and eventually I'll be able to push d4, or at least I will try. I think that's a better try for claiming the center. Okay, the knight's defended now, and the bishop's ready to get out. However, the pawn is only defended. Okay, I see the e6 pawn as a weakness now. It's only defended once by the knight, so I could distract the knight. Another option is rook e1 with tempo. So rook e1, threatening the pawn, I'm just developing with tempo. That feels right. Another way to develop with tempo is simply this one. But then where does the rook go? Let's say the rook goes here to try to defend this, maybe, with the ideas of perhaps this and this later. Okay. So it could be argued that I'm pushing him in the direction that he wants to go in anyway, so I'm not really hindering his development. Okay, let's start with rook e1. I think both moves are probably equivalent, or doubt there's a big difference. Now this is interesting because he's removing a retreating square for the rook. He's going to lack real estate because both his bishop and his rooks are competing for the d6 square. So I think b2, bishop b2 will be interesting. Bishop b2, are there any tricks? No. Yeah, bishop b2 has to be the right move, or at least a good move. But there is that one. A little bit annoying. Okay. What about knight g5? If he exchanges rooks, that's good for me. Yeah, okay. Knight g5. I don't think I can avoid the exchange of rooks. I don't really want, like d4 maybe. Okay, d4 is playable. d4 takes is fine. d4. Okay, let's see, d4. Takes, I mean, rook takes e1 is fine, right? That's not a problem. Actually, this helps. So, d4. Kicks the knight. Where does the knight go? a6 is ugly. I'm going to damage his pawn. Okay, d4 I think is good, but yeah, I think d4 is good. Knight g5, I'm not sure I was achieving anything there. So I want to hit this pawn now. But wait. He's hanging a piece? Wait, what? So I can just take the knight. But then again, if he was moving the knight, I would take with check, but still, he wouldn't lose a piece. Okay, so I think that's a big blunder from our opponent. So what's the catch? I take this. H2 check, doesn't matter. Yeah, I think, plus I have a threat, so I think it's game over for him already. Okay, so he's just giving everything now. I think I can just take this. Can I? No, I cannot take this one. Okay, the simplest way when you have a winning material advantage is to exchange pieces, but not at the expense of activity. So I think a good compromise is like this one, because yes, I'm surrendering the bishop pair by exchanging on c6, but first, by playing this move, his knight cannot move. He's only got one piece that can move, so I'm really completely restricting him. Now I have, sure, I can take on g7, but I feel like this pawn is more important. He's got a big pawn mass in the center. So I could try something like this, hitting both of these, but the problem is he's gonna push this one, blocking my bishop, which is a little annoying. Okay, perhaps I just need to accept that I have to work for this a little bit. Okay, if I take on g7, I don't give him an opportunity to make a mistake, put it this way. But if I do this and he somehow defends the wrong pawn, then I have that, which is great. So I don't know, let's try this one. Okay, he doesn't make the mistake, of course. He defends the correct pawn. So let's take this one. Now we move back. Now we need to okay. I think we have something. We attack the rook, we attack the pawn. He's got this one, yes. But something has to give. You see, rook here, he cannot defend. Like, if he pushes the pawn, he loses the other one. He can defend with the king temporarily, but bishop a3, okay. So I think rook e1 just wins cleanly. So where's the catch? He's just giving me the pawn without offering any resistance. Where is the trick? Let's take with the knight. I don't want to move the rook away from the protection of the first rank, which is our weak spot. In fact, we're not in a hurry. Let's make improving moves that reduce the risk of blundering. Okay, we can win a pawn on e5 with a fork, so let's do that. And slowly improve the position. What else can we do? Rook check, and then what? Rook check, let's say, okay. Rook check, king b6, knight here. Have I improved my piece placement? I would say yes. But what about king c8? Then I've got, okay, then I can hit a7. Okay, I feel like this is good. Okay. Oh, there could be a checkmate here. So how? Okay, in order for a checkmate to appear, I need to cut the escape squares of the king. And one of them is, in fact, it's the only square. So rook b7 would be checkmate, except for that annoying c5 square. So if we remove the c5 square, now we have a mate threat. So let's see. We play this, but the problem is, and he creates another escape square on c6. Did I achieve something there? I mean, I could check again. Okay, I could check again on d6. Okay, let's just do that. It's not risky. Even if it doesn't yield anything, it can't be bad. In fact, this is mate. Ah, no, it's not mate. What am I saying? But it's mate in 2. is it not? Like, if this threatening this, how does he stop that? But let's ask him the question. How do you stop this? Okay, and there's those stalemate tricks, is super important. The king is in fact in stalemate, but fortunately there are pawn moves. Okay.